Assalamu alaikum students. Let's study today the topic Reformation, which started in 15th century. This Reformation was started in the result of the outdated, to get rid of the outdated theories of the church. When in 15th century the Renaissance started and Europe wanted to go ahead in science and technology and discoveries and get again that position which was that of Romans and Greeks, but the church was totally against it. So there was a great rebellion against the church, and people wanted to reform the society according to the new ideals of the science and technology. So let's study the Reformation time. It started in 1517 AD, and there was in the time of Renaissance the scientific and cultural changes were taking place, and there was the world was changing, the people life was changing, and the people lifestyle was changing, but the church had suppressed the innovative and scientific discoveries. Church did not want these things, because church wanted what the church says people should adopt it. When the church was against this new scientific and cultural changes and discoveries and inventions, so the questions arose among the people about the authority of the church. People started questions why church doesn't want a change in the society, why church doesn't want the scientific discoveries, why church doesn't want the inventions, why church doesn't want the change in the lifestyle of the people, because the every new century is different from every previous century. The needs of every new century is different from the needs of every previous century. So a change is must with the passage of time. But church was against it, and it wanted to keep the status quo. So then some leaders arose in the shape of John Calvin and Martin Luther, who protested against the church, and they formed the Protestant faction of Christianity. So now in the Christianity, a second faction was there against the Catholic Church. With the Catholic Church, now a second faction in the Christianity came, which was called Protestant faction of Christianity, and it was led by John Calvin and Martin Luther. So this John Calvin and Martin Luther were the founders of the Protestant faction of Christianity. Due to this movement and the power of church, and there was a great work in literature, science, medicine, and other fields, and the discoveries and inventions went ahead to their peak, and the power of church greatly decreased on the society. So there was a great change. When these changes, for these changes, this movement was going on, so some people were there who were in favor of the Catholic Church. So a civil war started between, first a tension started, and this tension developed into a civil war between the Catholic Church, the supporters of the Catholic Church, and the supporters of the Protestant faction of Christianity. So this civil war was for 30 years, 1618 to 1648. It took 30 years in the Central Europe. So the Central Europe faced 30 years civil war. This civil war was for the supremacy of Protestant faction of Christianity or Catholic Church on the society. So this the Central Europe saw this 30-year war, and this was between Protestants and Catholic Church. During this civil war, in 30 years, 8 million deaths happened. Means 8 million people died. And then during this time, plague also, which we call town plague, was also, and it was called at that time, the people called it the Black Death, because it perished 25% population of Europe. So with the civil war, this was another 8 million people died in the civil war, and 25% of the population perished in the plague. So it was a great setback for the European society. And due to the civil war and plague, the industrial production declined across Europe. Their development, everything which they did during the time of Renaissance, it greatly declined. It's greatly downfall happened, and there was inflation and diseases. on the widespread scale in Europe, there were inflation. Inflation means, which we say fratisar or mengai. So inflation and disease, bimariyan, were on the widespread. They were widespread across Europe. In the whole Europe, there were inflation and disease, and the life became very difficult. So Europe faced severe economic crisis, and everywhere the people life was difficult. Businesses got downfall, and Europe was in great tension and danger and great risk at this time. Now, due to this 30 years civil war, then 1640, at the end of civil war, means between 1647 48, people tried to start treaties, muahide. People wanted to make some treaties to end this war. So a lot of treaties were done, and the collective name of all these treaties is called Peace of Westphalia, which was given a final shape in 1648. In 1648, a final shape was given to the Peace of Westphalia to bring peace in the West, and civil war should be ended. And at the end of the civil war, an option was given to all the countries of Europe to adopt Protestantism or Catholicism as a state religion. Every country had an option whether they want their Protestant church as their religion, state religion, or as Catholic Church as their state religion. Which one should be their state religion or official religion for the country? After this, religious liberty was granted, that in every country, if there is a Protestant religion as a state religion of a country, so their Catholics will have their liberty. And if a Catholic idea is adopted by a country as a state religion, so then Protestants who live there will have their religious liberty. And similarly, other religions which will be there in those countries, they will also get liberty of their religion. They will be free to act upon their religion. The government and the people belong to the majority of that country will not harm, not hate, not criticize the ideas of other religions, and they will not interfere in their religions. And so this was the last. This civil war was the last major religious war in Europe. Before this, also there were small fightings, wars, and religious issues. But this was the last major religious war, and this Treaty of Westphalia put an end to the violence. After this treaty in 1648, there was totally an end to this violence. The civil war totally stopped, and a peace came in Europe. And European countries were divided into Catholic Church and Protestant Church. And this war was ended, and it was accepted that everybody will afford, everybody will bear, everybody will not interfere in the other religion. So every person will be free to act upon their religion. So this was the Reformation movement in 1517, which was started by Martin Luther and John Calvin. So students, you see that there was a great civil war between European countries, and the peoples of all European countries participated in the civil war. But at the end, with the Treaty of Westphalia, a peace was brought, and then the whole Europe came under a full peace. And then after that, no European violated this treaty. So today we see religious harmony and liberty in Europe. So thank you.